But what I do know is people can change. Robert Byrd changed. He was a fucking KKK member in his teens and into his 20s. And when he got older, he renounced all of that shit and even personally endorsed Barack Obama for president, right? From the floor of the Senate. This guy was a fucking KKK member and he changed. I'm not saying Graham Platner did not change or could not change. What I'm saying is instead of being honest about why he has that tattoo, he lied and pretended that he was stupid. And to me, I'm not buying that. And to me, that shows that either you're dumb and I'm not supporting you, or you think I'm dumb and you think your potential supporters are also dumb. And that is a red fucking flag to me that you should find another progressive. I'm not saying you got to vote for the run-of-the-mill Democrat centrist. I'm saying go find another progressive without a fucking Nazi tattoo on them. Or
yeah, and that's the thing that drives me. That's driven me the most nuts about some progressive reaction is that they're making it sound like, oh well, if we don't choose Graham Platner, it's going to be Janet Mills, and I'm like, bro, it doesn't have to be. Like you don't have to fucking hitch your wagon to the Nazi tattoo Blackwater guy. Like you really don't. Like you can have some standards that are.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host Jay. I'm here with my co-host Brad. Hello, Brad.
Hello, Jay. I thank you and the listeners for bearing with me as we're dealing with some shit, but yet we have been dragged back to talk about way too many things. Way too many things. What's insane is that this docket, even though this is the first show we've done in what, like 3 weeks, 2 weeks or however long, yeah. Is all stuff from just this current week that we're in. Like we're recording on Thursday, and like I think all of this stuff is all from Monday through Thursday.
Yeah, it's all relatively new,
which seems irritating.
Yeah, it's been a lot, hell of a week, as they say. So let's get right into it. Federal shutdown continues. Yay! Things are bad, like really, really bad. We're getting close to the 35-day record, I believe, for the longest government shutdown. Of course, that was during the first Trump administration. So I guess we're poised to break that record.
God, was that one that long? Really?
Yeah, it's 35 days, which is insane. Okay. I did see some people saying things like, well, it can't be that bad because like things are going pretty well. The country hasn't collapsed. And I'm like, okay, your perspective doesn't equal everyone's perspective. And starting on November 1st, it's about to become a whole lot of people's perspective.
Right. And also just from a, like, obviously, like, we're going to talk about the benefits, which is the real important thing right now, but also just from a, how the federal government is running standpoint, this, it's not like it shuts down and then you see an immediate impact right away, right? Like the services are trailing indicators. And I'm not saying that this is going to extend into like April or whatever, right? But like if it did, or let's say you had a government shutdown that happened in March and extended it into April, like you would absolutely notice when you're just like, hey, like I can't file my taxes. Why not? Well, no, for the fucking IRS is there. Like it's stuff that you don't necessarily. And again, that just kind of speaks to A, how well the federal government generally runs, and B, why it's fucking necessary because you're gonna see this shit fall off at some point. So
yeah, I mean, I think people often like to use anecdotal evidence and very personal anecdotal evidence as some sort of like indicator of what's going on in the country. Like, well, I'm fine. Like, cool. Like, I'm not on SNAP benefits. So for me to say everything's A-okay is beyond ridiculous, right? So I need people to understand it's much like the tariffs. Like, I haven't noticed anything. It's like, well, maybe you have enough money that you haven't noticed like the changes of items at Walmart or whatever. Or it takes a couple of weeks for these things, like you're saying, for them to really kind of manifest. And November 1st, they're about to manifest, and it's going to manifest 42 million Americans. So at that time, there will be no SNAP benefits, right? These are food stamps, basically. Those will not be sent out. And again, 42 million Americans, give or take, rely on these. And I've seen some really wild takes from people being really super concerned, understandably, to people being like, this is a great thing. It'll fucking get people working again and not just sucking on the teat of the federal government. And to that, of course, Brad, you make that face because you are a smart person and you know things, and you know that 60% of people that use SNAP benefits are currently working. So this idea
full-time jobs, they're just working at like poverty level wages.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when people are like, yeah, it'll get them back to work, it's like, okay, but like those people are already at work. And then the other 40% of the people who are not currently working full-time jobs, there are also people who are like sick and can't work, or they are people who are elderly. And just keep in mind, it's not 40 million households. It's 42 million Americans. That's a lot of kids in that. It's like, hey, get to work.
Once again, Ronald Reagan has poisoned the well of the entire country, because like Republican voters, and thanks to this longstanding myth that's been perpetuated for the last 45 years, assume that like if you are on government assistance, like you're not working, you're pumping out, a dozen kids,
correct,
spending money on drugs and alcohol and stuff like that you don't need. Like that's the caricature of someone who uses government assistance. And to your point, 60% of people working full time, just not the case. Like assistance is not like we're not talking about fucking, the government is covering your complete living costs and everything like that so you can loaf around. Like, no, like these are people that, if they work, they don't work and make enough money to afford rent and food and clothing and like all this other stuff. And it boggles my mind that is still persistent today, right? It kills me that that's still like this, the automatic go-to belief of people on the right, especially, that kind of have that, opinion of people that, accept government handouts. A lot of those people are Republican voters in poor Republican states that can't find, jobs that pay living wages, because we can't bother to raise the federal minimum wage in this country for, what are we on, 20 years now since that last happened, or something stupid like that?
Yeah, something like that, 17 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ronald Reagan, ultimate historical villain. I mean, for obvious reasons, there are so many. His shitty acting is pretty high up there. But to me, this entire point of like, yeah, this is going to hurt Democrats or black and brown voters more is a wild take, because I don't know, man. Googling is still free. It may not be tomorrow. I can't say. But Googling right now is still free. And just to break it down on racial lines, I know people go, oh, you make everything about race. Yeah, everything in America is about race. Spoiler alert, it is. I know, it's hard to believe that, but it is.
As old as time.
It fucking is, dude. Like, it started, and it's probably the way the country's going to end. Okay, like just collapsing under its own weight of profound ignorance. So as of 2020, or I'll even do I'll do 2023. According to 2023 USDA and FRAC breakdown, 35% identified as white. These are SNAP recipients. 35% are white. 26% are black. 16% identified as Hispanic. 4% identified as Asian. And then 17% were listed as race unknown. But if you go back to 2020, non-Hispanic whites attributed they were 45% of adult recipients. 27% were black. Hispanic of any race were basically 22%, and children receiving SNAP, white children made up 31.5%, black children 27%. So when they talk about like it's all the minorities, like, bro, it really isn't. And if you look at political affiliations, like you said, I don't know, man. I'd be quite I'd be quite curious as to how things are going to work out. If you look at some surveys indicate approval of SNAP interest is expanding by varying parties. 74 by a 74-point margin, Democrats supported expanding SNAP by a 74-point margin. Republicans supported it by an 18-point margin. Okay, just expanding it. So in 2012, Pew Research survey found that amongst major U.S. safety net programs, 60% of Democrats and 52% of Republicans and 53% of independents had ever benefited from SNAP. So if you think it's all Democrats, you're wrong. And again, that's in 2012. Listen to the numbers I gave you of white people on it in 2020. If you think those are all liberals, you're wrong, because the poorest states in this country vote Republican, and they're mostly conservative white people. There is a lot of white people on fucking SNAP benefits, and a lot of those people are MAGA voters. They're about to get a very, very rude awakening. This isn't like the farm subsidies where you're just going to fucking write them a check. You got to pass a fucking bill, my man. You got to get these people, you got to get Republicans in DC to vote to bring the government back. If this shit is allowed to go, and we'll talk about whether it's allowed to go or not, on November 1st, I don't think Republicans are quite ready for what the backlash of this is. Because you can pretend like you don't give a fuck, but poor people who take up large swaths of your constituency, right? Tommy Tuberville was on, he was getting interviewed while he was at the House, and he's like, well, you know, Democrats need to come to the table. You know, they got to figure it out because, you know, so many of their people are on these SNAP benefits. It's like, bro, you're from Alabama. You're from Alabama. 60% of people in Alabama are use SNAP benefits. 60%. The fuck are you talking about? You think those are all liberals in Alabama? What the fuck? Like, you think all? Well,
and the thing is that Republicans are doing this because in the past, when they've threatened things like this, Democrats have always thrown themselves in front of the bullet, right? To save these folks and to get commissions. And I think to their credit, and you and I have been very critical of Democratic leadership over the past several months in terms of what little they've done to fight against what this administration is doing. But to their credit, they're holding out. They're like, you know what? You guys control both chambers. You guys have the presidency,
and the court.
We have a simple list of demands that we want to get our votes. So you can either give us that or figure it out yourself. And I think Republicans are kind of taken aback by the fact that Democrats are willing to shoot the hostage, I guess, for lack of a better analogy.
No, they're willing to let Republicans shoot the hostage. That's actually a better way of saying that.
Right. And Mike Johnson's grand strategy is to go out every weekday in front of a podium and try to blame the shutdown on Democrats. And it's not working. Like polling from 3 weeks ago and polling, from last week basically show that like people are blaming Republicans for the shutdown. Like it's moved a little bit towards Democrats, but I'm talking like maybe 3 points in these couple of weeks, right? Which is not that significant. Basically 40% of Americans are blaming Republicans exclusively for what's going on with this.
So. I'm sorry. I said a statistic that was unbelievably wrong. Not 60% of Alabama is on SNAP benefits. That's not that's not correct. What I should have said is it's 15% of Alabama residents are on SNAP benefits. 750,000 of them, that are in raw numbers, are on SNAP benefits, right? So I apologize for that. So almost 800,000 people. But you know what? I'm sure they're all liberals, guys. I'm sure.
Right. Well, and to help kind of frame your point, like if you look at per capita, Republican states by far have far more people using.
Oh, it's not even a question.
Right.
It's not a question.
That's kind of like in Mike Johnson's district, like I think his specific district is in like the top 25% of all districts in the country that using SNAP benefits.
Oh yeah, of course. So again, Democrats holding the line, this is the move, right? Like, I understand, and look, I do not support poor people not being able to eat. I do not support playing games with people's food. I really don't. I 100% don't. There is a contingency mechanism, which we'll talk about, that was literally designed that SNAP benefits still go out, even if there's this fucking gamemanship in DC. That money has already been approved by Congress, right? And it is there in case shit goes bad, poor kids don't starve. It's already approved. There's no, we need to go back to the House. There's nothing that needs to happen. And the president refuses to send that money out. They just refuse. Like, well, why are you refusing to send it out? Because. So there's no like, political machinations or like, well, we got to debate with them about it. Can we send it out? There's nothing. It's already been approved. All Trump has to do is say, send it out, send the money out. And they won't.
Well, he's got bigger fish to fry right now, Jay. According to his press secretary, her words from the lectern, his top priority, Donald Trump's top priority right now is getting his, again, from reports, his words, not mine, Saddam-esque ballroom constructed. That's his top priority right now.
He said Saddam-esque?
That a report from people inside the administration said when he was designing this thing, he was like, he wanted to be like Saddam Hussein's opulent, like, fucking palace that that he had interact. That didn't make the rounds too much, but I definitely picked up on that one.
The quiet part, loud as fuck. Holy
yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? I support him, and I don't know if you've ever seen or if you know this, but they have a book. They have a version of the Quran that's written with Saddam's blood, right? That's a thing, right? Like leaders. I support that. Why don't we get the Art of the Deal written with Trump's blood? They can just start bloodletting him, and we'll just start at the beginning. We'll take our time. We'll make it through all the way through the book, and maybe by the end, you won't be around to read it. Okay?
Well, and the other, I mean, you have to laugh, otherwise you'll cry. Part about this is like, Republicans were, I don't know where they were today, and like JD Vance was there, and he's literally like talking about this, and the clip that's gotten chopped out that is being attributed to him, a little bit out of context because he was trying to lay this on Democrats' feet. But he's like, "Oh, the suffering is going to increase." it's something that JD Vance. I'm like, "Wow, bro. We got JD Vance's 2028 campaign slogan already on the books. We're good to go."
Or like JB Pritzker's like, just play the tape again. Just keep playing the tape. Yeah, I think this is it's not good. This is pretty bad. Look. I've seen a number of people say this, and you and I have hinted and certainly have talked about this offline. Americans are going to have to suffer before they figure this out. They have to. And I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. The Democrats would finally figure this out. And rank and file, very middle of the road Democrats being like, you know what? Maybe we should stop saving people. And then they just say that we didn't do our job anyway. Right. Like
they got, they got the American people got bailed out by Trump somehow managing not to fuck up the economic recovery that Obama, made happen. So things continue to get good. And then COVID happened, which, he of course bungled in his way, but I mean, you can't entirely blame, him for a pandemic happening on his watch and cratering the economy when that happened. And then, like I said, Biden worked his ass off to get us back on the right track. But that was the thing you and I warned about, right? Like with the fucking YOLO presidency, when this dude is, termed out according to the Constitution. More on that later. Yeah. That he was going to go fucking buck wild, man. Like when he doesn't have to run for election again, he's just going to do whatever the fuck he wants, smash and grab. Let's have the Justice Department pay me $230 million for having the temerity to investigate me for shit that I did that was illegal.
Yeah, for like literal crimes. Yeah. Crazy thought. Yeah, that's not even on the docket. Like, hey, could you just give me 200? Can you just give me $250 million? Yeah, sure. I'll sign up. I looked into myself and I determined that I did nothing wrong, so I should get.
Yeah, and you shouldn't have done it because you should have predicted the Supreme Court was going to just give me king powers essentially. So
I mean, in fairness to him, maybe they should have. Looking back, maybe not the hardest prediction to have made, but yeah, I mean, it's absolutely nuts. So, okay, man. Bro, I guess that's what we're doing. Let's play a clip of Mike Johnson giving up.
Yeah,
because
it is really helpful. I will say that, and considering that you and I lived through Kevin McCarthy, it's astounding that we somehow have found a speaker the most incompetent speaker of the House, perhaps ever.
Yeah, I think. Somehow Mike Johnson not only is a terrible Speaker of the House, I mean, arguably one of the worst. I think that's absolutely correct. He looks like a toady, like out of an 80s movie. And it's so fitting for him.
Someone made it gets shared a lot if you follow Comfortably Numb on Blue Sky, but someone made a image of Mike Johnson as a Muppet. And like you can't tell the difference between the actual Mike Johnson and the Mike Johnson Muppet. Like it basically looks like the same person. Nice. Essentially. By the way, did you hear one of the other reports that came out where Trump jokes privately that Trump's actually the Speaker of the House because Mike Johnson will literally just do whatever Donald Trump tells him to do?
Dude, like how pathetic is that? Like
multiple people have heard him say that. By the way, that came out in this report. So.
I don't understand not having any self-respect. I just don't understand it. And it's really funny because that was the entire founder's thought process. Like, right. Surely, even back then, they were just like, well, I mean, what kind of punk-ass bitch is just going to let this guy just run all over them? Like, surely they'll push back. You never met Mike Johnson?
Well, turns out they didn't think that... I guess they didn't have the foresight to see that anyone would be so desperate because Mike Johnson knows the minute that he's not, just basically parroting whatever Trump says, he's out of the job, right? Like Trump will whip 100% everyone to get him the fuck out of there and find someone that will. So this is just survival instinct for him. I don't actually believe that Mike Johnson is this fucking dense, but he has to be this dense because of who his boss is.
Yeah, that's a sad state when you have to pretend to be dumb in order to keep your job because your boss is that dumb. I don't know. I wouldn't want to work for somebody like that. Hey, Jay.
No, well, I mean, you and I have self-respect and dignity that Mike Johnson apparently lacks. So,
I mean, neither one of us share our porn habits with our children. So,
no, just each other, not with our kids. Just
right. We're born different. Come on, guys.
That's right.
Like that. What a fucking weirdo that guy is. All right, so let's play Senior Muppet and his very sound logic on why they are not going to break on feeding poor kids. What a wild take from the Christian conservative.
The reality is that this has been a stalemate for 30 days. And it's not just Democrats. You also have one of the most conservative Republican senators, Josh Hawley, who says, at least please move money around to feed people. Why not consider that?
Because if you deviate from the goal of reopening the entire government, Chuck Schumer and the radicals over there will continue to play games with people's paychecks, their livelihoods. And if you do just part of this, it will reduce the pressure for them to do all of it, to do their basic job, and that is reopen the government. This is very real and very serious, and they can end it today. They can do it right now. All they have to do is, we just need 5 more Democrats in the Senate to help us reach the 60-vote threshold. We don't have enough Republicans to do the right thing on our own. We need them to do the right thing.
Okay, so to his point, the Democrats are in charge. We only have control of the House and the Senate and the White House and the courts, but the Democrats are in charge. Here's the thing. You have enough votes that you could use the nuclear option.
You could, and it's so funny that I haven't heard any, no Republican has said that, which is why
that's not true.
No media person has pressed them.
That's not true.
Oh.
That's not true. That's not true.
I missed that.
Fucking card carrying lib Marjorie Taylor Greene said that. She said that on the news the other day that yes, they do have they could do the nuclear option. and get it open. She said that. And I was like, she's not fucking wrong. She's not wrong. Why not do it?
I'd love to see Democrats say that too. I want Chuck Schumer to come out and be like, look, like if they really want to pass that House bill.
I'm pretty sure Hakeem Jeffries has said that too, by the way.
Well, I mean, Hakeem Jeffries can say that. He's in the House. I'm saying, like, it'd be interesting to hear Chuck Schumer come out and be like, like if they really want. So apparently the filibuster is way more important than, feeding poor kids and making sure people have health care and shit like that. So.
Yeah. You know what? And that's actually a very good point. Everybody always bags on Democrats about this idea of them being like pro-procedure, right? They won't do anything radical because they're like, well, we got to follow the rules. Look where we are. Look where we are. The Republicans are pretending that they cannot help anybody because of procedure, right? Well, that would break the rules. I'm like,
good, break it.
Hey, spoiler alert. The asshole that you pay fealty to is tearing the White House down literally across the street from where you are. I don't think the rules matter anymore, my guy. Like that shit is a wrap. So it's not that they don't want to do it. And it's not that it's not that they can't do it. They don't want to do it. They want to make people suffer. In that clip, he gave up the ghost. If we allow this, then they have less.
Yeah, they have less incentive to come back and pass this whole bill that we want them to pass.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Like you're 100%. But even in that statement, he's not actually completely correct, because it's not that Democrats just want the SNAP benefits solidified. They also want the healthcare insurance.
And that's what I was going to bring up, is just in case people forget, because the media doesn't bother to cover this part. Like they just talk about how the Democrats are holding out, but they never talk about why. Like they never talk about what the Democrats are trying to achieve. And to your point, that is to roll back the $1.5 trillion of health insurance that Republicans ripped out when they, passed their stupid tax bill. And I love the Republicans trying to spin this, because basically, like, Republicans, after they passed that bill, expanded things by like $500 million. Mm-hmm. And they're like, the Democrats are wrong. Like, we're expanding healthcare. Look, we just passed this bill that or $500 billion, sorry, that expands by $500 billion. Like, yeah, after you cut it by $1.5 trillion, like, you're still net negative $1 trillion, my dude. Like, math is math.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
They're like, well, we didn't pay attention to school, so we hope you didn't either. But that's the whole point, right? It's not even an intricate lie. It's just hoping that MAGA Republicans won't go read. That's all it is. It's not even. It's not based on any sort of like chicanery that's like clever. None whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you and I, we follow the leopards eating faces subreddit to get some Schadenfreude on the daily. And again, like a lot of these people who are posting like, oh, I'm going to lose my house, I'm going to lose my health care, I'm not going to be able to feed myself, I voted for President Trump, this or the other thing. Half of them still, even in that statement, are just like, well, I don't blame Republicans, but also, like, all these bad things are happening to me because of Republicans. But it's not their fault. I want to be clear.
I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene does that. She blames Mike Johnson and the House Republicans, and even in Republicans in the Senate. But she goes out of her way to be like, well, I don't blame Donald Trump. And I honestly think that is the number one reason he hasn't gone after her, is that she's always like, no. The king is correct. All the people who are doing his bidding, they're terrible. The king is still correct, right? And so it's to keep on his good side. But I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, one, I think she wants to remain in Congress, right? Because she doesn't want to get fucking turfed out, which makes sense. She probably wouldn't be anyway because she's in a super conservative district. But for her constituents, it really looks like she's fighting for them, right? And I think she's serious about giving a fuck about at least her and her kids not paying more for insurance. I don't know if she gives a fuck about anybody else, but I think she legitimately thinks it's a problem. The way in which she would go about fixing it is a different conversation altogether. But I think she wants to stay in Congress, which is why she's very vocal about it, and it's a smart move for her. It's actually a quite smart move. Mm-hmm. Two, I think that she would love to be speaker. I think she would. And
no, I think the word on the street is she's actually running for Senate. I think that's why you think she's going to run
for the Senate.
I'm not saying I think that. I'm saying that's the word on the street. No, that's why she's trying
Against who?
Probably, or who's coming up? Is it Ossoff or it's Ossoff that's coming up next? I think
she'll run against John Ossoff. You know what? Go ahead.
Yeah, but also Jay at the same time. Guess what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing tomorrow?
Oh, what's that?
She's going to be on The View because they invited her there, and because you know why? Because they've been speaking complimentary of her since she's been out here. Like, release the Epstein files, and we got to get this health. She's trying to come off as not batshit insane.
Yeah,
because I think she wants to run because she wants to win in a purple state, a Senate seat. I think that's what she actually wants.
Okay. I can see that. That makes sense. I mean, look, she does come off better now. Now, do I think welcome to the resistance? Like we joke about it, but no, get the fuck out of here. 99.9% of the things that woman says is insane. Okay. Okay, congratulations. You got 1% right. And it's all self-serving. I'm not by any means pretending it isn't. However, I do think she is somehow smarter than a lot of Republicans, especially in the House, that she sees that the ship is sinking. And so she's trying to position herself to at least take as little damage, if not get completely out of the way before it fucking blows up in her face. I truly believe that. So, and is that for a Senate run? Maybe. Makes sense. Do I think she'll win? No, I don't. I think people are going to be like, no, that's really good. That's really good. And, what about all this other shit? And I would like to things, and I think you exposed her.
I would like to agree with you, but
of course,
again, we have seen, this country has the dumbest fucking people choosing who represents them in elected office.
That's very true. I mean, okay, so I suspect that Ossoff is up in 2028.
I think so. Yeah.
Right. All right. That means
I think it's hang on. Georgia.
She would have to be declaring at this point if she's trying to take him down now.
Oh, that's probably correct.
Yeah, it's got to be 2028. So
they're up next year.
Ossoff is up in 2028 or 2026.
26. Yeah, remember because he came in. Remember him and Warnock had the special election after Biden got elected.
Oh, right.
So
okay. So that's a bit weird, right? Because she's going to have to declare here pretty soon. Mm-hmm. And once she declares relatively soon, I have to imagine people are going to start saying, oh, okay, you're only saying this to run for Senate, right? Because right now she can run under the cover of I'm just trying to be a good person.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see. I don't think that she beats him. I don't think she beats him.
Oh, you know what? Don't listen to a word that I just said. I'm on Wikipedia now, and she has actually stated that she is not running, at least in 2026.
All right. Well, what does that mean? What, you know what I mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
But okay, either way.
It means Jay was right.
All right, but Ossoff is still up in 2026?
Yes, he is.
That's surprising. Okay. Then I don't know. I mean, I could see her trying to run for speaker. The only problem with my theory is that you would have to try to get all of the lunatics to vote for you. And if she's out here calling out Mike Johnson, that goes against that. He's the head of the lunatics. So
but at the same time, the lunatics are just going to choose whoever Donald Trump tells them to choose. So she decides if she wants to be speaker, and Donald Trump's like, yeah, Marty should be speaker, then she's going to be speaker.
That's true. They're going to get behind, helping out people in healthcare. I don't think so. So somebody's going to have to move on that. It's either Donald Trump or Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'll let you figure out which one of those immovable force meets an idiotic object. How that's going to work out. So yeah, incidentally, Marjorie Taylor Greene called out Mike Johnson on Tuesday because they were on a House Republicans call on their on their GOP conference call, and she asked what the healthcare bill is that they're working on, and he refused to say it. They don't have one. It's not that they're hiding. They're not hiding the bill from the world. Like, they don't have one. They ain't writing nothing. They are waiting for those subsidies to expire. And then they're going to watch healthcare skyrocket. And then they're going to be like, see, we should have gone back to the system that we had. Because, by the way, if you listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene talk about why we are in a situation, while she agrees that it's not acceptable for those rates to go crazy, she blames Obamacare for that. Mm-hmm. She's not blaming Republicans necessarily for fucking up. She's saying that we got to help them because this Obamacare shit fucked things up so bad that that's why they're going to rise. No, they're going to rise because the healthcare system in this country is still bastardized because we need single payer healthcare. Okay. But it's not the Obamacare thing that made it high. Rates were already sky fucking high before Obamacare. Like, what the hell are you talking about? So
yeah, it is Obamacare's fault because it didn't go far enough. Like that. Like if you want to frame it in that, if you want to frame it in that context, sure.
Which
but that's
she definitely does not want to frame it in that way. So, I just thought that was funny. Like, so what's the healthcare plan? No. What healthcare? Who is this? New phone. Who this? Like, yeah, they don't have one. Even in their own conference, they are not going to tell those people. So when she came out and said there isn't a plan a couple of weeks ago, and Mike Johnson came out and was like, no, there's a plan, but not everybody in the GOP is privy to that, he was lying. Shocking news, he was talking and lying. I know it comes as crazy for everybody.
Well, his new thing is whenever anyone asks him about anything in these like briefings that he's doing, he hasn't heard it. Like he doesn't know or he hasn't heard it. He's like, oh, I haven't heard about that, so I'll have to. It's a running joke now that's literally his response to fucking everything.
I mean, that's You ever watch a Republican debate anything like online? Yeah. Like, hey, did you hear about this major thing that's happening? I didn't hear about that. You debate the news. What the fuck you mean didn't hear about it? This isn't clandestine shit. Like, this is a major storyline. Makes us look.
But meanwhile, he's out here policing Democrats' language for daring to use the F word as they're talking about stuff like this. Oh,
wait, what?
No, like today he came out and like one of the things he said is like, well, the Democrats are just out here like saying the F word just for emphasis, I guess, like all the time. Like, I think that's pretty inappropriate. I'm just like, dude, fucking grow up. What are you doing here? Like 40 million people are about to lose fucking food off their table. And you're worried about people saying fuck because they're pissed off because you're being fucking obstinate and a douchebag.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, bro, I'm fucking hungry. How about that? I'm sorry if that hurt your Bible sensibilities. My stomach's growling. Like, who cares? God, the GOP is ridiculous. Whatever. They're fucking exhausting. All right, so let's move into news you need. And by the way, one last thing about this. There is a judge who is set to decide whether or not these SNAP benefits will be cut off on Saturday, right? So this is based on whether or not the United States will be sending out these, tapping into that emergency funds for the SNAP benefits. The White House is like, well, there's nothing we can do about it, which is total bullshit. But this judge is Judge Indira Talwani, basically heard from the federal government, and they're like, well, these are emergency funds, and we're legally prohibited from extending those benefits, and we can't do that. And she basically was like, Congress put money into emergency fund, and it's hard for me to understand how this is not an emergency. It's really clear to me that what Congress was trying to do was protect the American people. By Congress, she means Democrats. We're not going to make everyone drop dead because it's a political game someplace else. That is correct. Like that should be the ruling. Even if the emergency funds are tapped for the SNAP benefits, administration officials say it's $5.5 billion falls short of the $9 billion needed to fully cover the whole month of November. They say recalculating benefits and arranging for partial payments would be a logistical nightmare and could take weeks. That means millions of Americans would still see some delay in receiving the next benefit, and they would be receiving less than usual. Here's an idea. Send them the full amount for as long as you can. Like, if you're making the argument of like, well, we would have to cut it down and that could take weeks to figure that out. How about we don't figure that out? How about you send people the full benefits that I think would cover like 3, maybe almost 4 weeks? And then in that 3 or 4 weeks, You break ass to try to get this shit done to get the government back open. Just stop trying. And this is a classic argument, right? Oh, well, it would take us weeks to make these changes. You're making life harder on purpose. You're trying to make it more difficult to help people on purpose. Just send them the money for as long as it lasts at full benefits so that people can eat for those 3 to 4 weeks and then work to fix it. But they don't want to do that. They're literally trying to throw in a wrench. Before they send out the benefits, they're trying to throw a wrench into it and be like, it would be really hard for us to do that. Nobody's asking you to do that. Just help people right now. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
You're going to find a common thread through this episode is going to be, hey, wouldn't it be cool if laws were laws and not either suggestions or obstacles that are there for you to work around?
That is correct. Yeah. I hate him, Brad. I truly do. News you need. Are we going to war with Venezuela? A lot of people are saying. A lot of people being me. Yes, I think that we are going to try to put boots on the ground. And I think there are kind of boots on the ground already, sort of in Trinidad and Tobago, kind of ready to pounce on over to Venezuela, their lovely neighbors. Why? Because I need a foreign war to solidify support at home, as shit is not going well. It's a classic.
There's a movie about this.
There's a lot of movies about this. Wag the Dog. There's a ton, right? And there's movies about it because American governments have been doing that since fucking forever. So, Brad, tell me why we are justified in trying to overthrow Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela.
Socialism, I guess, is I'm assuming like
you're a huge. You got a Maduro chest tattoo that you didn't know.
Sorry, when answering it in this context, you have to do the socialism. Like you have to do the Bernie Sanders.
Jesus Christ!
Like jump scare. No, we of course don't. For all the things that Trump apparently doesn't like about Ronald Reagan, like Ronald Reagan's admiration of free trade. He sure does love disrupting South American governments. He's a big fan of that. It's
a pastime. Like I feel like people often say baseball is America's pastime. I think fucking up South American governments is really America's pastime, if we're being honest. We fuck it up and then we're like, you should come here to play baseball. And then the cycle continues.
But no, I don't think you have to think about it much further than you kind of already laid it out. Like he needs something big to distract all the attention that's being given to ICE officers on the streets, abusing and locking up American citizens, and him wanting to deploy, the National Guard and maybe more onto American soil, and the high costs of tariffs being thrown all over the place and things like that. So he needs something that traditionally has been a unifier of people in the country. I think he's going to be sadly disappointed to find that I don't think it's going to have the intended effect that it will have, or that he thinks it'll have, if they do follow through with trying to make this happen. It also doesn't help that, again, this administration is filled with the most incompetent morons that you could possibly imagine trying to pull this off.
I mean, one could say that, and that would be if one read anything or paid attention. So, I mean, look, are there reasons that Trump has beef with Venezuela? Sure. Are they particularly valid? No, not really. Drug trafficking, right? Like that's why we're blowing up boats. So they say, right? I think they're blowing up boats indiscriminately. I know that because the Pentagon came out and said, we don't even know the identities of the people on the boats.
Of course they don't, because they're not apprehending them.
Yeah.
And interrogating them.
That's why they're not.
Sorry, except for one boat that there were, like one of the attacks that they made, there were survivors. They turned out to be Colombian. They turned out to be fishermen. And what did they do? They just sent them back to Colombia. Yeah, like, all right, get out of here, you scamps. Sorry, we almost murdered you.
Yeah. I mean, this entire thing is there a possibility there is like I don't like the argument that they're narco terrorists. Like, really, narco terrorists? Like, is there a possibility that these are drug boats? It's possible. Would we be justified in sending the Coast Guard over there to scoop them up and fucking?
Yeah, I was about to say, you know how you can maybe give the American people some confidence that, hey, actually we are we are trying to police drug boats and keep drugs from entering the country by not blowing the ship up and by actually apprehending them. And so we could see, like, hey, like, look at all the drugs we found on this boat. See? Like, look at all the bad things that are happening.
Right, but here's the problem. You can't use the Coast Guard because they're nowhere near our fucking coast, okay? Like, let that be known, is that we are not going, like, we're not policing boats coming in like they're flying, they're driving cigarette boats from Cuba, bringing in drugs in the middle of the night, and we're blowing them up or whatever, right? That's not what's happening. Venezuela, I don't know if people know, like, look on a map, not exactly like right next door to the United States.
No.
Certainly not within the
far away
fucking Coast Guard.
So, several island nations in between us and the Venezuela. And again, it's not a coincidence that the guy who used to be in command of that region was relieved of duty.
Not relieved. Resigned.
Oh, he left? Oh, he resigned? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they fired him.
No, It was like, hey, why are you leaving? He was like, just like, I'm just gonna get the fuck out of here because I don't want to end up in a fucking Senate hearing. Okay, that's why. And he's a person of like integrity. Like, hey man, this isn't fucking cool, so I'm out. Did he say anything like that? No, but that's purely my speculation. Nobody's trying to give up that job if everything's going hunky dory. Okay,
right?
They're just not. So there's also another aspect of this. Never forget, in 2025, Trump announced tariffs 25% on goods from countries buying Venezuelan oil as a way to squeeze the Maduro regime and its foreign partners. And by foreign partners, China. So if you don't think that America's favorite thing, getting that oil, isn't a factor, it definitely fucking is. It always is. It always is. Most of things in, like, when it comes to foreign policy, is us trying to knock down socialism to the south of us, and most of the time is because of oil. We don't really give a fuck about any of that other shit. Like, you gonna buy American oil? No, we're gonna socialize our things and keep all of our stuff to ourselves. I think it's time for some regime change. Really. It's funny that you say that, America, right? So it's almost always has to do with oil or some sort of like rare earth minerals or something like that, that basically resources that we can try to control all of, if not a large portion of, or we don't want China or some other major superpower, it's mostly always China, to control that, right? And China has big hooks into Venezuela's oil market, quite seriously. So I think that's a big part of it. Again, Maduro doesn't really like Trump, right? He says that he's a socialist. I mean, what is, South American socialism versus what we think of socialism, or sort of like Scandinavian democratic socialism, or even Russian, so to speak, socialism. These are all wildly different things. Okay.
Right. Turns out, as much as people wish it were so, you can't just kind of neatly organize all these ideologies into a box and put a label on them and call it in what you want it to be. So
right, and I mean, most of the times, South American socialism, or even sometimes you see African socialism, is mostly, I would like these foreign companies that are sort of vessels for these big foreign powers. I want them the fuck out of our country, and I want to keep our resources locally as much as possible. Those are always the socialist regimes that have to be taken down. That's almost always the argument. Like, hey, could we just have our own resources? They're like, no. But why would we allow you to have your own stuff? We got to get a little bit. Like, we've been doing it for decades, baby. So just understand that. Like, does that mean that Maduro is a good person? Fuck no. It absolutely does not. But keep in mind, that has more to do with it than anything else. Oil and, wanting to keep their own resources in-house as much as possible, or at least out of the hands of the U.S. We are now docking ships in Trinidad and Tobago. which is not good. That is not a good sign. You could make the argument that maybe it's just kind of bluster. I don't think it is. Like I said in the beginning, I think this is all kind of we need a foreign war, and nothing brings, especially conservatives, together like foreign wars and country music. Like make a song about fucking kicking Maduro's ass, and conservatives are all about that shit. They never heard of Nicolas Maduro. They don't give a fuck about Nicolas Maduro. But if Donald Trump says this guy's our enemy, they're going to be like, hell yeah. By the way, we're starving at home. Doesn't matter. We got to get those guys. And that's what it's going to come down to. And at least that's what he's hoping. Do you think that that's going to work? You were saying that you don't think so.
Well, it's not going to work in terms of like getting like anyone on the left to kind of stand behind it, but it will work in terms of giving liberals another thing to protest against, right? Like it'll be another, fucking ball to throw over everyone's head to chase after and take attention away from other things that we're kind of focused on. Again, like, I don't like to give this piece of shit credit, but Steve Bannon, was right when, he laid the strategy out of flooding the zone with shit. He truly is flooding the zone with just like unseen before levels of bullshit. And it's hard to pay attention to everything, and it's hard to focus on everything. And it kind of dilutes your attention span and makes you feel overwhelmed and all that shit, as I'm sure all of you listening are probably, feeling, being immersed in all this stuff right now. And again, if a war with US troops, would be yet another fantastic fucking log to throw on that fire just to keep things as chaotic as possible. So
now I will say this. There's part of me that thinks that this is a terrible, terrible idea. That's most of me. Mm-hmm. Other part of me thinks may not be terrible. And I'll tell you why. Do I think that we need to boots on the ground in Venezuela? Fuck no. Do I think we need to be engaging in any foreign war? Absolutely not. Motherfucker, whatever money we're sending over to Israel, people act like the Gaza shit is over. We're just not talking about it. Like the ceasefire held. It fucking didn't, by the way.
Yeah. Well, two guesses as to who broke it.
Shocking news.
Who could it be? It might be the side with all the fucking missiles.
Who could really say, Brad? Who could say? The news could say. They don't, but they could. But I think that there's part of me that thinks it's like a 1% thinks that maybe fucking around in Venezuela, not a full type of invasion shit, I'm not cool with that, might be slightly good. And I'll tell you why. Because I learned in history class a long, long fucking time ago that the number one thing you do not do as a ruler is fight a two-front war. And you will lose, okay? You are expanding whatever your bullshit is with ICE across this country, and you are running shit paper fucking thin, right? You're going to run people fucking ragged. And I mean ICE agents, you're going to run them ragged. You're going to run the American populace dealing with it on a daily basis. You're going to run them ragged. You spark off shit in another country, you start to run the American military ragged, right? Not because they can't handle a fight. And again, I don't want them to go over there, but not because they can't handle it, but because the American people can't handle it. And eventually people go, enough of this. This is too much. And two wars, one at home and one across the sea, is too much. It will break people. Couple that with all of the economic problems that are arising all at once. It becomes untenable. And people go, yeah, but whatever. It becomes untenable. You don't have to listen to me. Go look at any fucking history lesson ever about fighting two-front wars. If a president or a king decides, I'm going to fight one nation and I'm going to fight this other nation at the same time, or I'm going to have strife inside my country and fight a foreign government at the same time, they always implode because there is just not enough bandwidth for the administration to handle it, for the citizens to handle it, for the military, all of it. All of it falls apart because it's just simply too many fucking, sticks in the fire, or however you want to say it. It's just too much. Do I want it to happen? I'd rather it didn't. But I can tell you, if you want to hasten this administration falling the fuck apart, let them keep stretching themselves thin. Look at ICE. Like already people are like, well, I'm not sure if I want to be in it. I think I want to quit. And like all this shit is happening. And even throwing all that money at them, There is just not a capacity for that shit. It only can run so much. They can't handle managing it across 50 states. That's how bad it is. And that's how much they're like, just throw money at it, throw money at it. Yeah, but human beings only have so much capacity. They just do. They only have so much capacity. So, again, do I want it to happen in Venezuela? Fuck no, I don't. But food prices going up, gas prices going up. Because, by the way, you spark off a war in Venezuela, guess where your gas prices are going? Through the fucking roof, my man, right? Gas prices going up, food prices going up, healthcare insurance prices going up, people not getting SNAP benefits. How long you think you're going to run on this shit before they start pulling you out of your fucking houses? How long you think you're going to run? You think you can just run this shit till the midterms in 2026? I suggest you live on a military base. More on that later. Right? I'm just saying, man, don't underestimate the power of people just being too tired and just not being able to have the mental bandwidth for it. They just won't. They won't. And again, like, it's not on the docket, but like, beef is going up, right? We're importing Argentinian beef now after sending Argentina $40 billion. And then telling farmers we don't have any money to help them. And telling people we don't have money for SNAP benefits. What is the fucking article I just read? That it's $9 billion a month for SNAP benefits. These fuckers sent $40 billion to practice libertarianism.
And where'd that money come from, by the way? I don't know if that's ever been really explained, or if it did, I missed it. What kitty did they dive into to throw that money at Argentina?
Right. So you could technically cover SNAP benefits for 4 months and some change, right? Quite 5 months, quite literally for 5 months. But you would rather send that money over to Argentina than have them send their beef, which, by the way, apparently is like not the best beef, which I also think is kind of interesting. And you're going to give that to the American people fucking over cattle farmers in the United States. Then you're going to send out a fucking Truth Social post and say, cattle farmers don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
Keep going, man. Just keep going. It's fine.
It's interesting. I did see some folks, I think Kevin Cruz primarily was the one talking about this, so like the robber barons of the industrial age in the US, of course, did, terrible fucking things and were filthy rich and abused their employees and fought tooth and nail to prevent unions from happening and such.
Oh, yeah.
But they also invested like a shitload of money into American institutions and doing things for the public good. Like, again, like Carnegie Mellon, something that literally still exists today.
Yeah.
The Rockefeller Center, things like that. And it's because like they knew that like, hey, like if we just sit here and fucking hoard money, these people are going to come into our houses and beat the shit out of us.
Yeah.
And fucking stone us to death. And the difference now between those guys and, the elite ruling class and tech CEOs and stuff like that, is that the fear is gone. And
it shouldn't be.
The fear needs to come back. That's the big mistake, is that we the people got too nice.
Yeah. Well,
and help them forget that, hey, like actually, maybe you shouldn't be stepping out over your skis as much as you are right now.
Yeah. And look, we have been warning this for years. There's only so much people can take. And people go, oh, yeah, people seem to be fine. I mean, have we forgotten that Luigi Mangione is in fucking prison? And why? Have we forgotten this? Like, I feel like you shouldn't forget that. And I feel like this idea of all of these things expanding, and then you then send troops overseas to fight in some bullshit war. By the way, you going to declare that as like you bringing that shit to Congress? Like,
do you think that Donald Trump thinks that he has to?
No, I know the Speaker of the House, Donald Trump.
Yeah, sorry.
but do you think you want to, before you declare war, you think you're going to go ahead and bring it back? By the way, we're running CIA ops in Venezuela. And Nicolas Maduro came out and was like, hey, we captured some of the CIA members trying to do a false flag, trying to pull us into a war with the United States. Now, people are like, I don't believe Nicolas Maduro. Like, that's crazy. But then you have to go back and you have to remember that Donald Trump went on television and was like, yeah, we're running CIA covert ops in Venezuela like 2 weeks ago. He said
crazy that you would say that on fucking TV, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure the guys were like, "What the fuck, dude? Don't,
bro, do you know what covert means?
No.
Do you understand?
All he can think is like, this is so fucking cool. I was able to authorize that. I'm so fucking hip and cool. Yeah, he fucking said that shit. He said that. That was on, this is reported October 16th, 2025, headline for the AP. Trump confirms the CIA is conducting covert operations inside Venezuela. He said that shit in the fucking White House. He said it. Quote, I authorize for two reasons, really, Trump replied. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. And the other thing is the drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming from Venezuela, and a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea. He's telling you right there. This is the thing that I'm doing. I am sending the CIA over to do covert operations. What could be the covert operations that you're doing? Because you're blowing boats up right now. Do we know if those are drug boats? Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. We have no idea. Why don't you arrest those people? Like you said earlier. They don't want to. Because who gives a shit, right? Trump just said, I'll just kill people. That's what he said, by the way. He said that on the news. I'll just kill people. It's like, I'm sorry, are you a video game villain? Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Dude, I hate to keep saying this every week. It is remarkable how asleep at the wheel the media is during all of this.
Yeah. Well, the problem is,
or the incentives are wrong. Is the problem? So
yeah, the incentives are wrong, but I feel like there is people in the media who are very much wide awake about this shit and they're like talking about it, but there are so many people not talking about this or talking about the dumb shit that doesn't matter that's happening in the news, so that all just gets kind of like, it goes out with the wash. You know what I mean? Like yeah, this was a huge thing. So nobody puts together this AP story from the 16th and Nicolas Maduro being like, bro, we captured people. By the way, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But the argument of like, is the CIA doing covert ops in Venezuela is inarguable because the president said that. You don't have to believe Nicolas Maduro. You can believe him whether or not they captured these people and whether or not they were trying to do a false flag. But my question to you would be, what else is the CIA fucking possibly doing in Venezuela? What else would they be doing? Breaking up the people, like mixing the fentanyl in the woods? Like, what is the CIA doing? Like, no, they are there to fuck shit up. And the best way to do that is to draw, like the president wants, to draw the United States into a war. You need a reason. We should not, on this podcast or any podcast, pretend that the CIA does not have a massive history of doing false flag operations to pull the United States or justify violence in other countries. They do. They've done it. Like these are historical facts. This is not an opinion. So to me, whether Maduro is lying or not is almost completely irrelevant. I mean, it's not totally irrelevant, but it's almost completely irrelevant because Trump told you that the CIA is there, and their entire fucking business would be to make a mess of things so that we can go in. Otherwise, you wouldn't be lining ships up in their fucking neighboring countries. It doesn't make sense. So you can just put 1 and 1 equals 2. You don't have to be like, well, what about? There is no what about. It's clear as fucking day. They are preparing for a justification so they can go, see, we fucking told you. We blew those boats up for a goddamn reason. Boots on the ground. Let's go. Yeah, there's no other reason. And unless I'm missing some major aspect of it. And if I am, feel free to write and let me know how Trump is just brilliant on this and he's just going to go down there and shake Nicolas Maduro's hand. I fucking doubt it. It's
good. It's a good thing we haven't started any wars in the last 20 years on false pretenses that hasn't, come back to haunt us or, be a black stain on on the U.S. military. Yeah.
By the way, never forget that correct me if I'm wrong, the woman who just won the Nobel Peace Prize is Venezuela. And she has called for Nicolas Maduro to be replaced by herself. So, and she's also
she's a big Trump fan. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm the conspiracy theorist, or I'm a guy just paying attention to the fucking news. This is exactly what they want. And America loves some good old-fashioned regime change. We love that shit. We love it. We love to look like the big tough guys, go in, smash your fucking little country, come in and put our person in there. And look, on the surface, how awesome does that look? The person who just won the Nobel Peace Prize, she gets put into power? Thanks to America, thanks to Trump. And if you don't read the fucking news, you're like, hey, man, that's pretty good. What's he going to do next? Make Greta Thunberg the fucking president of Germany or whatever? That sounds awesome. Right? Like,
remember when Republicans' big thing was isolationism, stop getting involved in overseas conflicts and this, that, and the other shit?
That's what he fucking ran on. Like,
I know.
Oh, remember that? Like in the 80s? No.
Kamala's gonna. He literally said during the campaign, Kamala will send your sons to war. He literally said that.
Yeah.
That's a thing that he said. Hey, someone should ask Maureen Dowd how she's doing right now.
I hope not well.
Not for nothing.
Yeah. or any or you know what? Why don't you ask Susan Collins? Has he learned his lesson yet, Susan? Has he? Fuck out of here.
She doesn't care. Good segue though.
Yeah. Susan Collins died. No, I'm kidding. Wild segue. She's dead. Why aren't Nazi tattoos a deal breaker for progressives? Some progressives. I will say that I can think of at least two progressives that it absolutely is a fucking deal breaker. We don't play that shit. So what's this guy? Democratic Maine Senate hopeful Graham Platner expressed regret over getting a tattoo that appears similar to a Nazi tattoo or a Nazi symbol nearly 2 decades ago and plans to have it removed. His latest mea culpa after a week of damning headlines over resurfaced social media posts. Look, let me just correct this, what I just read. It isn't similar to a Nazi symbol. It is a Nazi symbol. It's a Totenkopf. That is a Nazi skull and crossbones. And if you go, well, I didn't know that, or as somebody said on social media to me, well, you had to Google it, so what does that say about you? You didn't know it. I was like, yeah, I don't
have a Totenkopf tattoo on my body either. So
right, like feels like a weird argument of like you had to read up on something that you didn't know. I feel like maybe Graham should have done that. Like it seems weird, right? Like I don't know. I have 2 tattoos on my body. I know what they mean. Like I didn't just get random shit tattooed on my body. Like I don't know, bro. Shit's crazy. Let me get that one. He says that he got it in a tattoo parlor. He was drinking one night in Croatia with a bunch of like Marine buddies, and he just picked a skull and crossbones off the wall. They got. Was it a Nazi tattoo shop? Like they just got Nazi shit on the walls as options, like in the book of like we just do shit. Like I don't know, man. Just get the Nazi one. Like what book was that? Seems weird.
Well, and here's the thing, and we talked about this, and this is a point that a lot of people made. Like dumb 21-year-old does something that he comes to regret 20 years later is not the story here. The story is 40-year-old runs for Senate while having a Nazi tattoo. It's not the fact that he got the tattoo, it's the fact that he still has it 20 years later. That's the problem. And again, it's not because I think he's like a secret Nazi. I don't.
No,
but I mean, he's running for Senate. Like he's not running for a county dog catcher. He's not running to run a Hardee's. He's running for the United States Senate where good judgment and good sensibility is something that you should desire in a Senate candidate that's in there. And by the way, that's on top of a lot of weirdly misogynistic former Reddit posts that he had. That's on top of the fact that he used to work for fucking Blackwater.
That's way something in 2018, bro. You weren't 18. Right. That's way worse. Here's my thing. In order for me to support or to listen and buy what Graham Platner is saying, there are only two options that you have, which is his argument is I was 18 and I didn't know what the tattoo meant and I did something dumb. Totally believable, by the way. Totally believable. But I would also have to believe that you've still been dumb for 20 more years.
Right.
So, argument one, I was an idiot and I still am an idiot. Okay. Or option two, I think you guys are idiots. That's why I'm going to say this bullshit to you, and I know that you'll buy it. And to me, I don't like either one of those options. So either you're stupid or you think I'm stupid. No. And again, if you told me, hey man, I was 18, I was on some wild shit, I got this tattoo, and then I found out what it meant, and I was like, oh shit, I'm not fucking for any of that. And like, I got it covered up. Like, let's say you found out 5 years later or whatever. You got it covered up. I'm not mad at you for that. Like, whatever.
By the way, we would have never known.
We would have never
known because there's a picture.
Yeah, pictures,
or whatever,
right? But if years later it came, like there was a picture of you with it when you're like 18 or whatever, and then years later you're like, yeah, I actually got the cover up like 5 years later. I didn't know what it meant, and I was like, oh shit, I saw that, and then I got it covered up. I'm not mad at you. I'm like, it's kind of.
Yeah, congratulations. You demonstrated growth and good decision-making skills.
Right, like, oh, that guy was a fucking idiot when he was 18. Spoiler alert, same, right? Like,
so is everybody.
So is everybody.
Well,
right?
and so here's the problem, right? So the reason that a lot of neoprogs are getting up in their feelings about this shit is because he's running against Janet Mills, who is a quote-unquote establishment Democrat. Now, everyone who listens to this show know that you just need to give me any reason to vociferously shout down the 77-year-old that's running for a 6-year Senate term. Okay. I would like any reason to be able to do that. But even I am like, hey, maybe Graham Platner, not the guy. And one of the other reasons I'm concerned is that he's immediately gone like to like the Fetterman line of defense where it's like, oh, like, well, this is just the establishment attacking me to try to because they're afraid of me and they they're trying to get me out of this race. And I'm not saying that you have to vote for Janet Mills. I'm saying that we have 6 months before, actually more than that, 8 months before the primary, because theirs is in June. Pretty sure you can find another progressive Democrat in Maine that you could run against her. Maybe that doesn't have a Nazi tattoo.
Yeah, I don't think this is a requirement for progressives. Like, if we could only find one who doesn't have a fucking swastika on their back of their forehead, on the front of their forehead.
Right.
So there's a couple other things about this that are challenging for me to ignore. One, I think it's ironic that quite literally there was a fucking comedy sketch where there is a Nazi soldier.
The one of the most used memes on the internet over the last 10 years.
This guy's a Redditor. He never saw this. Get the fuck out of here, right? Are we the baddies thing. It's on the hat. He's like, oh, we were wearing a hat with like the little skull and crossbones. It feels like we're the bad guys. It's like, that's a Totenkopf. Like that emblem was they just didn't use a swastika, probably because it's like, all right, this is like maybe a little too in your face, right? But like they use a Totenkopf, right? So that to me is funny. But the other thing about this is tattoo culture is a very specific thing. Now, he got it done in Croatia. Maybe it's different. But I do know that putting Nazi shit on people, not a real cool thing for tattoo artists, unless you are down for that shit. And a lot of tattoo artists are like, do not bring any requests for me to do a Nazi tattoo. I will not do it. Because that is a very specific type of tattoo artist who's like, oh, I'm going to fucking swastika on you. Hell yeah, brother. Like, because they got one. Okay. They got several of them. You're not just going into your run-of-the-mill place and being like, if I can just get the Totenkopf, like, no problem. Tattoo people know what the fuck those emblems are because they do not want to be associated with doing those things. So I'm not buying it. It's like I'm not buying the argument of like the GOP stage that was designed in that fucking Nazi rune image. Like, oh, it just happened to be bullshit. Somebody knew what that design was, and they did it on purpose. It's too exact to pretend that it wasn't. It's on purpose. Someone did it, and they know it's obscure, so they know most people won't notice. Somebody noticed, and they pointed that shit the fuck out, right? And then Republicans were like, "You're crazy. You're seeing things." It's like, bitch, I'm not seeing things. It's right there. Like, I'm not blocking. What the fuck?
Like here, like it's the same picture. Like,
these two things are exactly the same. So it's the same thing with this. It is hard for me to believe that somebody at 18 who has pictures of himself like in some sort of public forum with no shirt on, all the 20 years, nobody was like, bro, that's a fucking Nazi tattoo. And also, I know something that a lot of people aren't bringing up, which is he had this done around a bunch of Marines. And I know a lot of Marines. Some of my, like a really close friend of mine, he's passed away now, was a Marine. And I know a lot of that culture around those folks. They know military history very well. And for them to not know what that symbol means is bullshit. They know what that symbol means. If you as a regular public person doesn't know, people in the military know shit like that. That's why the military scans for that shit, right? Because they want to make sure that white supremacists and shit like that are not amongst their ranks, right? If you walk in with gang tattoos or Nazi tattoos, you will not be allowed into the military. That is a fucking fact. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. People who are like generally Marines and people heavily into the military, and this motherfucker went to work for Blackwater afterwards. They are very knowledgeable about this shit. So you're telling me in that 20 years, with all these people that you bunked with and everyone else, everybody hanging out with you and all this other shit, you go into Blackwater, all these guys, everything else, nobody knew what the fuck it was? Nobody said anything to you? I find that incredibly hard to believe. I think you knew what it meant. I think you thought it might have been cool. I think you might have even been fucking well aware when you got it. And you might have been like, it's fucking edgy. Or maybe you even agreed with that shit. I don't know at the time. But what I do know is people can change. Robert Byrd changed. He was a fucking KKK member in his teens and into his 20s. And when he got older, he renounced all of that shit and even personally endorsed Barack Obama for president, right? From the floor of the Senate. This guy was a fucking KKK member and he changed. I'm not saying Graham Platner did not change or could not change. What I'm saying is, instead of being honest about why he has that tattoo, he lied and pretended that he was stupid. And to me, I'm not buying that. And to me, that shows that either you're dumb and I'm not supporting you, or you think I'm dumb and you think your potential supporters are also dumb. And that is a red fucking flag to me that you should find another progressive. I'm not saying you got to vote for the run-of-the-mill Democrat centrist. I'm saying go find another progressive without a fucking Nazi tattoo on them. Or
yeah, and that's the thing that drives me. That's driven me the most nuts about some progressive reaction is that they're making it sound like, oh well, if we don't choose Graham Platner, it's going to be Janet Mills, and like, bro, it doesn't have to be. Like you don't have to fucking hitch your wagon to the Nazi tattoo Blackwater guy. Like you really don't. Like you can have some standards that are immovable. Like I know we talk all the time on the show about
I will not support a guy with a Nazi tattoo.
We talk on the show all the time about like when it comes to politicians, don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Yeah.
And stop voting and purity tests, ironically, that are pushed forward by neoprogs most of the time. But it's okay for don't have a Nazi tattoo to be one of those things that you're pretty steadfast on. Yeah. And by the way, I do find it ironic that the same group of people who are backing the Nazi tattoo Blackwater guy to the hilt are the same group of people who said you can't vote for Pete Buttigieg because he worked for McKinsey for a year or something stupid like that.
Okay. I mean, again, he was a part of a private army. They're a fucking team of mercs. And here's the thing. Look at what's going on. Look at what we talked about as far as what's going on in Venezuela. You think a former merc is going to vote against that if that's brought to the Senate? I'm not sure.
Yeah, like I said, you might get this guy, and you might all of a sudden have a real Fetterman on your hands. Mm-hmm. By the way, but since we're transitioning out of the story, I have to mention it because it's funny. like, the joke that we make about John Fetterman, like, it's very sad that he had a stroke, but it's so funny that after he had the stroke, like, look at what's happened to him.
Right.
He went on Bill Maher's podcast yesterday, and he literally said that the stroke freed him, quote, from progressivism. So he just did the meme by itself. So
Cool. So if you have a stroke, then you become a conservative. All right. So once you have brain damage, the GOP's talking.
All of a sudden these things are making a lot more sense.
Yeah, I can't count to 5, but like Donald Trump's awesome. Like, all right, man. Again, like you didn't have to say that, but thank you.
He's apparently he's also concerned that he won't be able to win re-election in 2028. To which I say, bro, it seems like a you problem.
Yeah, we're doing good over here. Like, I saw an article like he's having fundraising woes. I'm like, I bet the fuck you are, because we were like, really, that guy? Fuck that guy. We believed in you. You were supposed to go in there and be a, like, I don't know, a lurch for liberals, right? Like, you come in with your giant sweatpants and shit on, and you go and you stand up for people. And then, you had brain damage. And look, that's unfortunate. I'm not going to make fun of that. But then you became a fucking GOP piece of shit. So you can leave. Go seek help. Hopefully they can help you or whatever. But you don't need to be in the people's house. You need to go. Good day. Next up, Senate Democrats and 4 Republicans vote to end Trump's international tariffs. I wrote it like that on purpose because I refused to write Congress, because it wasn't Congress. It was all the Democrats and 4 Republicans and none of the rest of the Republican Party. This is the vote passed 51-47 in the latest bipartisan effort to challenge tariffs, but the House is unlikely to take any similar action. No shit. So the reason they're doing this is because Congress has the power of the purse, and this is actually what they should be doing. What this tells you, by the way, is that you got to give the Democrats the House. You got to give them the House. If you get them the House, you can stop some of this shit. Because I guarantee you, if Democrats have the House, oh baby, if they get the House and they get either, I don't even know if they have a chance to get the Senate, but even if they come fucking close, they're going to make that next 2 years super fucking hard for Donald Trump. And they fucking should. They should be absolute obstructionists. I'm not interested in bipartisan anything. Stop him. That your goal.
Well, not only obstructionists, but like, hey, like, you guys want to have hearings every week? Because we got lots to talk about over the last 2 years.
Dude, I'm dragging everybody's ass up there. It's like Stephen Miller. You said that ICE has federal immunity. Step right the fuck up. No, the hell they do not. Like, and I, by the way, I'd be like, look, if you commit crimes as ICE, you're going to prison. Like, just so you're aware of this, you're going to prison. So yeah, look, I'm glad Democrats are doing this. This is the kind of stuff I want to see. I did see someone had an idea, which I think is a really good one, is the Democrats should put up a bill, and they should just keep putting it up, that no president is immune from prosecution if they abuse a child. It's just put it up as a bill and just watch Republicans keep voting it down. It's like, seems curious. I would just.
Well, I mean, it won't get put up for a vote at all because Mike Johnson will refuse because he doesn't have the House in session. I mean, also, we didn't talk about this during the Mike Johnson thing. Never forget, the reason why he doesn't have House Republicans there is not because of the government shutdown. The reason why House Republicans are there is because if he actually puts the House back in session, he won't have an excuse to not swear in Rep. Gravata from Arizona, who was the 218th vote to file the discharge position to release the Epstein files. That's why the House. Oh
yeah, no, they're gonna run this shit into the ground. They will crater the entire country before they let that woman get sworn in. Just understand that. I'm interested to see just how far they're willing to go. Like, how far are you willing to protect this pedophile, man? Like, how far? By the way,
I mean, it's over. It's over once a formal session gets gavelled in, because that's what he's been saying the entire time. It's like, we have to have we can't do it pro forma. All right, cool.
I mean, you can. Like,
of course you can. Yeah, of course.
He's like, she should be in D.C. working. Like, but she's not sworn in. Like, and she
doesn't have, she doesn't have an office. Like, she doesn't have a staff.
Well, he was like, well, if she was here and her family was there, we'd do it. And they were like, they are here. I was like, well, I don't want to now. It's like, okay, just stop fucking lying, you fucking gigantic piece of shit. But I would make the second that is back in session, I would immediately vote on that. I'd be like, no, let's go. Get that shit out. And by the way, the victims of the Epstein stuff, where they said we're gonna make our own list. Please don't like slide back into obscurity. No, put that shit out. Like, get Marjorie Taylor Greene or Rokon or whatever. Get out there and say that shit. Give us the names. Like, this shouldn't take more than about 5 seconds. By the way, I don't know if you know, breaking news today, Prince Charles stripped Prince Andrew, or King Charles stripped Prince Andrew of everything. He was like, you don't get shit. No royalty benefits, nothing. Get the fuck out of the house. You're done. All that tells you is these motherfuckers absolutely know this shit is going to come out, and they want to be as far away from him as humanly possible. So, good. And look, and if he's in the list, he's in the list. He should go to prison. Will the British Parliament do that? I don't know. They should. They should have the balls to do it. I think it would be dope. I think it would really show that he is not above the law. As if
and it would set an example for the rest of the world, where it's like, hey, like, if we can fucking do this to the former Duke of York, why the fuck can't you do it to X, Y, or
businessman? Yeah, right.
And
by the way, Democrats, if you ever gain power of the presidency again, you put these motherfuckers in prison. Like, you don't. I don't give a fuck who it is. They go to prison. I don't care if it's Bill Clinton. Go to prison. Like, bye. Like, look, here's my thing. I don't even give a shit if you put these guys in the fancy pants prison, because that's where they're going. They're not going to fucking San Quentin. We already know that, right? Because, the world favors billionaires. Just put them in jail. Just put them in jail. Like,
remove them from society. Like, that's the fucking.
Oh, well, they get filet mignon in there. Yeah. And you know what else? You know what they don't get? To go home.
Like, the ability to walk on the street and
just go to jail.
Do whatever the fuck they want. Yeah.
Like, oh, but Bill Clinton's old. Oh, then he won't be there that long. These are not my problems. Like, it is what it is. By the way, this is just a side note. I'm gonna call it out right now. I don't think Bill Clinton's involved. I don't. I think Bill Clinton.
No, we know he likes him in the 20s. That's
right. Like, he's a sex pest, man, but he's not. He's a fucking filthy sex pest. But I don't think he's into young girls. Like, I just don't think. Yeah. Like, Bill Clinton is a coos hound, 1,000%. Right? He's like, there's not a woman he wouldn't be sniffing a skirt behind. Right?
Yeah, we had a whole fucking impeachment about it. Like, what the fuck?
Right? Like, this guy loves fucking women he's not married to. No argument there. Underage girls? I don't think so, because I think Donald Trump and the Republicans, they would torch Bill Clinton the second they could if they had definitive information, 100%. Because I don't know if you know, a GOP committee came out like last week sometime, and they were like, well, what we found is that Bill Clinton had a lot more ties to Jeffrey Epstein. They didn't say anything about sex with underage girls. They said more ties to him. It doesn't mean anything.
Did you see what Hakeem Jeffrey said about James Comer after that? I don't know if it was in relation to that being announced, but he called him a, quote, malignant clown, which I thought was very funny. So.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Malignant. Look, but just think about who the GOP is and think about who Donald Trump is. You think if Donald Trump had access to make Hillary Clinton be embarrassed on the world stage, he would just hang the fuck back and not do it? No. He would torch everyone else in the files to get Bill Clinton. Make no mistake about it. So if Bill Clinton is in there and like definitively Bill Clinton was sleeping with underage girls, make no mistake, they would not have waited this long. They wouldn't have waited this long. They would have been like, we redacted everyone else except for Bill Clinton. Like, they would have just done it. But the fact that they don't tells me everything of Bill Clinton was probably like, hey, why don't you give money to the Clinton Foundation or some dumb shit? And sure. But like, here's video or information about Bill Clinton sleeping with young girls. I doubt it. And it's not because I'm a defender of Bill Clinton. I don't give a fuck. Throw that nigga in jail. I don't care if he did it. But the fact that they have not gone after him, very specifically, that's the biggest red flag to me, that like, they haven't got nothing on him. Like, oh, here's a big committee meeting. Bill Clinton has ties to Jeffrey Epstein. What ties? Next question.
A necktie he received from as a gift for his birthday one year. That's what we're talking about.
Jeffrey Epstein gave him $1 million to help kids in Africa with, like, clean water. Okay, like, congratulations, Jeffrey Epstein did one good thing, and he's also a disgusting pedophile who should have been hung by his neck in a cell. Again, it doesn't tell me anything about Bill Clinton. So if they had something on it, make no mistake, they'd use it. Like, they just would. Like, Bill Clinton, come on, man. They would. Oh, Donald Trump, you wouldn't know, because Donald Trump would be skipping to the fucking podium with a big smile on his face the second he had that information. Well,
Donald Trump cannot skip. Yeah, like, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, I mean, he's so fit.
He would shuffle to the podium.
I mean, he would. He's what, 235, fucking 8% body fat, fucking lean, right? He's fucking Mr. Olympia, right? Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.